Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Heart Community of Mindful Living here at Dallas Meditation Center. Really glad you could join us today on this really wonderful weather type of Sunday, and hope you're enjoying your weekend. And if you're here for the first time, maybe you found us on YouTube live, or you found us, in searching, or showed up in your YouTube at another time. Just know that all are welcome. And it's pretty easy to follow along. We will do a guided meditation tonight, and then there will be a talk after that. And then following that, you can come over to Zoom if you would like and share and discuss and maybe ask some questions. And we'll put up the link for the Zoom meeting later, a little bit later in our meeting. And so now I just ask if you would just check in the chat box on YouTube. And also, it would be wonderful if you hit that like button and subscribe as well. That really helps our views and people to find meditation online. So welcome them to a beautiful day by pressing the like button. So anyway, so sit back and we will have 3 bells, and then Anne will lead us in the opening affirmation.
Noble community, we gather here now to honor the way of peace and nonviolence, the way of wisdom and compassion, the way of joy and beauty, in solidarity with one another, with all humanity, and with all life on earth. Friends on the path, we gather here now to deepen our solidity like a mountain, and to renew our freshness like a flower, through mindful sitting and walking, mindful singing and breathing, and mindful speaking and listening. Family of awakening, we gather here now to celebrate the one infinite light that shines through many religions and many cultures, to cultivate the wisdom of our many teachers, both ancestral and contemporary, and to affirm the capacity within ourselves and all persons of every race, gender, orientation, and tradition to realize full and complete enlightenment.
Hello, everyone. I just want to kind of echo what Cornell said. Welcome you to tonight's meeting, and just really happy that we all have this opportunity to share together. So I invite you to kind of settle in, however you do that. Make yourself comfortable and enjoy the contemplation before sitting and our guided meditation.
The Sangha is invited to go back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness brings us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, generate peace as one body, be free as one body. Let us transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating ourselves from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex. We are aware that the happiness and suffering of all people is also our own happiness and suffering. We see ourselves in all people and all people in ourselves. We are one with those caught in situations of oppression. We are also one with the oppressors. We are one with the wise and good people who are present everywhere in the world. We are one with those who are able to embrace the whole of this world with their heart of love and their two arms of caring action, We are a people with enough peace, joy, and freedom to be able to offer fearlessness and the joy of life to living beings around us. We see that we are not alone. The love and the joy of great beings who are present in this world are supporting us, not allowing us to drown in despair, and showing us the way of understanding, compassion, and right action.
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, dear friends, let's begin today's meditation by setting an intention. So, this is just a sweet part of the practice of saying to yourself for the next, 10 to 20 minutes, this is my intention for this sit. So, for instance, as I was thinking about my intention for this sit, it was just to trust the unfolding of this process, of this meditation. So take a moment and just consider what you would like your intention to be for this sit. Beautiful. And now, we are going to set up our posture again. And I know that I review this every single week, but there's a reason for that. And the reason is that we do things over and over and over and over and over again, because that's really what it takes for it to get into our pathways, into our mind and body systems of remembering. Somebody had mentioned the other day about how many times Thai has given the talk about breathing in and breathing out, and never really tiring with that. So we won't tire of learning how to set our posture up for our meditation. So again, just beginning with your base, with your legs and your seat. If you're sitting, your feet on the floor, always beginning from the ground up. So making that base very sturdy. You do want your feet, if you're sitting, to be completely on the floor with the space underneath your toes connected and your heel. So if your feet don't reach the ground wherever you're sitting, then feel free to get a cushion or a pillow or something that they can actually be touching. And if you're sitting on a cushion or a meditation chair, feeling the solidity of your seat, your hips, your legs, touching the earth, touching your cushion. You want to, if you at all can, you want your hips to be a little bit above your knees. So lifting your hips up if you need to sit. You can do that on a blanket or pillow. And then allowing your shoulders to be over your hips in alignment so that there's a nice, beautiful flow of energy from the bottom of your tailbone all the way up to the top. So you're going to be sitting with your back nice and straight, but not too taut and not too relaxed. Your shoulders reaching down, the crown of your head energetically reaching up. So that makes that long neck. And have your chin tucked in, your tongue resting into your mouth, under, behind your front teeth if you'd like, or wherever is comfortable. And take a moment just to feel your posture and to make any adjustments that you might need. And now that we've got that settled, let's tune into our breath. And so, what I'd like for you to do is drop into 3 very deep breaths that I'll guide us through. So, following your inhale right from the beginning, all the way through the breath into the exhale. So, breathing in through your nose, all the way down into your belly, holding it there, and then exhaling very slowly and evenly out again. You can do that through your nose or your mouth. And then inhaling nice and slow all the way into the belly, holding it, and then nice long exhale. One more time, nice and slow inhale, following your breath all the way through, down into the belly, holding it, and then exhaling all the way out. And now just breathing normally, take note of the way you might feel at this moment after having taken three nice breaths. Just notice how you feel. One of the most powerful ways that we can quiet our mind from the endless cycle of thought is to bring our attention to our body. Where in your body do you most feel your breath? Is it in your nose, your throat, your chest, your solar plexus, your belly, your feet? Wherever that place is, let that be your anchor for this practice. Let your mind rest on that spot and on the breath in that spot. So now I invite you to do 3 nice long in-breaths and out-breaths on your own. See if you can really extend the in-breath and the out-breath and make them nice and slow. When you're done with your 3 breaths, allow your breath just to go back to its own pace, its own rhythm, without having to control it, but keeping your focus on where you feel that breath in your body, and let the breath be there. Let your mind be there. Just breathing regularly and normally. Is there any way that you might be able to let go just a little bit more? Maybe readjust your posture if you're starting to lean forward. Relax your shoulders again. Perhaps put a little smile on your lips. And then just let go, not trying so hard. And then just breathing into that spot where you really feel it in your body. And keep your attention there. Really explore that area where you feel the breath. Perhaps you can feel other sensations around that area where you feel the breath. If you're feeling it at the nose, perhaps you can feel a little air right above the lip. Or in the throat, you might feel some muscles expanding and contracting around your breath. In the heart, chest area, see how expansive it is in that area. The solar plexus, can you feel the ribs gently lifting and falling back down? In the belly, can you feel the backbone maybe even as you exhale, feeling a little pressure there? Just explore the area around where you're feeling your breath. Bringing your attention back to where you feel the breath in the body over and over and over again. And exploring that and seeing what you can find in that area. Being curious. Just let your breathing breathe you. No need to work hard here. And if you'd like, you can begin to expand your awareness from that one point where you're feeling the breath and seeing where you might be experiencing the breath in the other parts of your body. For instance, I noticed that I began to feel my shoulders moving with each breath. So you might want to expand and see where else you might be feeling your breath just naturally, or you can stay with the one place that you feel it the most strongly. Where are you holding on to? Let it go. Relax it. And now thank yourself for giving your brain a little bit of a break as we listen to Bobby chant the Brahma Viharas.
May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. Brahma Vihara Maitri. Brahma Vihara Karuna. Brahma Vihara Mudita. Brahma Vihara Upeksha. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. May all beings be joyful. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be at peace.
The three jewels of our practice represent the qualities and nature that is in each that are in each of us. Our Buddha nature is our nature to move past obstacles, the guiding force that helps us to move along a path to freedom. The Dharma represents the words and teachings that help us keep moving on our path to freedom. The Dharma is expressed not only in the words we hear and read, but in the words that each of us uses when we communicate. The Sangha is the community that gathers and positively supports each other along the path to freedom. Our practice group that is gathered today is a Sangha. Those that could not make it today are also the Sangha. Our families and other supportive groups in our everyday lives are also part of our Sangha. We take refuge in the Buddha, the awakening heart of infinite light, that which shows us the way in this life. We take refuge in the Dharma, the awakening path of infinite light, the way of understanding and of love. We take refuge in the Sangha, the awakening community of infinite light, those who live in harmony and awareness.
Well, thank you for that wonderful guided meditation, Jennifer, and for the reminding us about how the three jewels are part of our everyday life. And so I'll read who the people who have checked in, and feel free to check in the chat window in YouTube. And I'll read from there. John is bowing in from Plano and says namaste. Barbara says that she's grateful for nice weather. Michael bows to all. Sandy says namaste. Julie bowing in, grateful for sunshine and for all of you. Monique says namaste. Tina bowing in from North Carolina. Luis, peace, everyone, bowing in. And one of the announcements I'll make early today, and I'll put a link in the chat window in YouTube, and then later I will do it in Zoom as well, is that this Friday and Saturday, Friday evening through Saturday morning, I think, there is an online retreat sponsored by our friends at the Fort Worth Cultivating Mindfulness Sangha. And it will be facilitated by our teacher, Terry Cortez Vega, Reverend Leanne Bryce, Lisa November, and myself. And so it'd be great to have many of us there. And I'll put that link to register in the window here in a bit. But for now, as we are going through our month of with the topic of Friends on the Path, I would like to welcome Bobby Perkins.
Thank you, Cornell. So welcome to March, everybody, and Awakening Heart Sangha. Today is March the 7th, and we are practicing online together. Tonight, I want to talk to you about cultivating a friendly mind. So I would like to begin with an homage to our teacher, Thich, Hanh. He said, spiritual practice is not just sitting and meditating. Practice is looking, thinking, touching, drinking, eating, and talking. Every act, every breath, and every step can be practice and can help us to become more ourselves. So the practice actually involves everything we do, everything we say, everything we think. But how do we begin? Is there a beginning? I think it's helpful to remember the aim. What are we aspiring to? Bhikkhu Bodhi sums it up in one sentence. In the practice of Dharma, our aim is to be the master of our minds, not the servant of our desires. Let me read that again. In the practice of Dharma, our aim is to be the master of our minds, not the servant of our desires. Well, it sounds good. So how do we become the master of our minds? And what does that have to do with having a friendly mind? Thich says that it takes more than just sitting and meditating. So maybe it would be good to begin with some basic questions. These are my basic questions. This is what I thought of as I was thinking about creating a friendly mind. First of all, what does a friendly mind look like? What does it feel like? And how does it act? Why do I care? I think a friendly mind acknowledges the Buddha nature in everyone and everything. When that acknowledgement is present, the friendly mind can be kind, understanding, honest. And a friendly mind that's focused in these ways would probably evoke a feeling of joy within us. I know that's much easier said than done. But we keep practicing because we care about one another. We care about our earth. And we care about ourselves. So now we come to what may be the hardest question. How do we cultivate a friendly mind? I want to suggest that there are at least 3 practices that we can use. They are body-mind connection, making space, and interbeing. Well, beginning with body-mind connection, we were just led into a beautiful meditation that did exactly that. We started with our feet. We got very grounded. We got our posture was good. I read this interesting statement in the Buddha Dharma magazine. When we hear words like meditation, mindfulness, or mind training, we often assume that we're working with our minds alone, but nothing could be further from the way it really is. Meditation, mindfulness, and mind training are full body experiences. They involve the whole body and our body's energies, including how speech expresses those energies and how mind rides on them. So without a body, we're not here. We can't be present in this physical dimension. The body is vital to the practice of training the mind. We know this because we've all experienced the reality of attempting to meditate when we're lost in our minds, replaying events from the past or imagining events of the future. Most of us spend far too much time in our minds. We acknowledge the importance of grounding ourselves in our bodies when we meditate. We begin, as Jennifer led us, to pay attention to our posture, pay attention to breath, our feet on the ground, with our backs straight but not rigid or stiff, and so on. Only when the body is settled can we effectively observe the mind. In the discourse on the four establishments of mindfulness, the four establishments of mindfulness, the Buddha teaches us to begin with mindfulness of the body, and then come feelings, mind, and objects of mind. So that's why we always begin a mind training activity with meditation and the awareness of the body. Descartes famously said, "I think, therefore I am." Thich said it this way: "I think, therefore I am not here." I think, therefore I am, as opposed to I think, therefore I am not here. First, we have to get there. We have to get present in the body, here and now. So that's the first step, mind-body connection. The next step I call making space. A mind that is consumed, preoccupied, full of opinions, criticisms, and judgments can be difficult, if not impossible, to train to be friendly. So making a space for the qualities we talked about at the beginning is essential. A mind that acknowledges the Buddha nature in everyone, in everything. When that acknowledgement is present, the friendly mind will be kind, understanding, honest, and open to new experiences. This does not mean that we must completely empty our minds. In fact, it's probably not even possible. But it does mean that we understand the true nature, the true meaning of emptiness in practice. So let's talk about what does it mean, this word emptiness that we see sometimes in Buddhism. So I'm just going to read a few quotes. The first one comes from Tashi Nima. He said, "Emptiness is the possibility of anything, not the absence of everything." The possibility of anything, not the absence of everything. The next one is from Lao Tzu, from the Tao Te Ching. We heard a little bit about the Tao Te Ching last week. In this one, this verse says, We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. And this last one is from Dilgo, I don't know how to say his next name, but Rinpoche is the last name, which I do know. And he said the presence of space makes it possible for the whole universe to be set within it. And yet it does not alter or condition space in any way. Although rainbows appear in the sky, they do not make any difference to the sky. It is simply that the sky makes the appearance of rainbow possible. Phenomena adorn emptiness, but never corrupt it. I kind of would like to spend a little time with this one because it has so much in it. He begins by saying that the presence of space makes it possible for the whole universe to be set in it. In other words, to include the whole universe. And the space does not alter or the space does not change or is not altered by whatever we kind of manifest in that space. So rainbows can appear in the sky, but they don't make any difference to the sky. It's very much like a meditation we do sometimes where we talk about watching your thoughts like clouds in the sky, because clouds can't change the space. They don't change the sky. We talk about being a mountain in our meditation. And then in that sense, we think about how the mountain is secure, grounded. And the mountain and all the thoughts that are floating by don't change the stability of the mountain. The space just allows it to be. The last thing he says, I love, it says, phenomena adorn emptiness, but never corrupt it. So try this experiment with me. Make a fist with one hand and leave your other hand open. Which hand can receive something or give away something? Which hand is more flexible? I do understand that sometimes it's necessary to close your hand on something if you want to move it from one place to the other. But a hand that's always closed is only good for one thing: punching somebody. Not very friendly. So we take this space that we are, we create space to allow things in, recognizing that these things we take in don't change our Buddha nature. They are actually possible because of it, because of the space of the Buddha nature, which is in everybody, although some people are not really aware of it. They haven't learned yet that they are Buddha nature. I want to read a poem about that later. The third practice that I talked about is interbeing. Thich Nhat Hanh is a wonderful example of the practice of interbeing. His whole life exemplifies the truth that we are inexplicably linked to everyone and everybody else in the whole cosmos. That might be a little hard to see on a cosmic scale, but it's pretty easy to demonstrate on this earth level. I like books, and I like to have a book that I can hold in my hand, like this book. And I suspect that many of you share my feeling. Have you ever thought about all the conditions, the interconnections of people and events and nature that are necessary to bring our books to us? I'm just going to name a few because the interconnections are actually infinite, I think. But I'm just going to start with a few things, and I think you can imagine the rest and fill it in. So, first of all, there is a person who wrote the words or drew the pictures in the book. A person. In this case, it's Brother Phapai. So that person had to have paper, a pen, a pencil, a computer, some way to record the words they wanted to write down, some way to record their ideas. The material used to write the book on has its own story and connections. The paper, for instance, came from wood somewhere. The wood had the log, the tree had to be cut down. It had to be taken to a place to be prepared. It had to be made into pulp and paper, and then it had to be transported. You can get the picture. So there were all those connections and people along the way who were doing all those things. But let's go back and just stay with the person who wrote the book. This person had ancestors who actually made his life possible. Somebody provided nutrition for this writer as they were growing, and maybe even as they were writing the book. Once the writer completed the manuscript, notice I didn't even go into the connections of the people who provided the nutrition and all these ancestors. So we're coming back to the writer. So he completes the manuscript and sends it off to an editor or a publisher. Very probably the editor, the publisher, will send it back saying, make these changes. So it's gone through a few hands by the time it gets back to the writer. Finally, I'll skip ahead a little bit. Imagine that the finished manuscript is ready to be published. And so the publisher agrees to print the book. Just following the trail connected to this one book, we can see that each piece is important. If anything in that chain is taken out or changed, we have no book. And your life is the same way. If anything or anyone in your life changes, you will change. Obviously, we're always changing, but it would have a definite effect on how you change. Looking back, you can see that every person or event in your life so far has contributed to your life as it is now. This principle of interbeing is true for everything and everyone, and that is why we strive to see the true nature in everyone and everything. The person who pushes your buttons is shaping you in some way. What are you learning from that experience? Are you learning to stand up for yourself and still see that she or he is not currently able to recognize their own Buddha nature? In his poem, Call Me by My True Names, Thich Nhat Hanh illustrates this way of being, how to see the Buddha nature in everyone. This poem was written during the Vietnam War. And so many of the things that he alludes to in the poem are taken from those experiences. I'm sure many of you have heard this poem, but I think it never hurts to hear it again. Do not call me, or rather, please call me by my true names. Do not say that I'll depart tomorrow, because even today I still arrive. Looking deeply, I arrive in every second to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with wings still fragile, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding inside a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, in order to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that are alive. I am the magpie metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird which, when spring comes, arrives in time to eat the mayfly. I'm the frog swimming happily in the clear pond, and I'm also the grasshopper who approaching in silence. I read that wrong. I'm going to start again. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear pond, and I am also the grass snake who, approaching in silence, feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, legs as thin as bamboo sticks, and I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I'm the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands. And I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in all walks of life. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughs at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. The door of compassion, I think, is that friendly mind. I think Thich Nhat Hanh was able to see the Buddha nature in everybody, is able. And that's why it makes him a really wonderful example for us to follow. You know, every Sunday we read the Contemplation Before Sitting. Anne read it to us tonight. This is sort of a manifesto of inner being. Just to remind you of a few things. What she read was, we are aware that the happiness and suffering of all people is also our own happiness and suffering. We see ourselves in all people and all people in ourselves. Reminiscent of Call Me by My True Names. And then this meditation goes on to say, we are one with people caught in situations of oppression and also one with the oppressors. And I like the way he ends by reminding us that we are a people with enough peace, joy, and freedom to be able to offer fearlessness and the joy of life to living beings around us. And we know we're not alone. We also chant the 4 vows of awakening beings, the Brahma Viharas. May all beings be happy. May they be free. May all beings be joyful. May they be at peace. These are not just words we say. These are reminders, practices. So, to wrap it up, training a friendly mind involves a mind-body connection, making inner space, and awareness of the truth of inner being. And it begins with you being friendly toward yourself, letting go of criticisms and judgments about yourself, seeing the Buddha nature in yourself, and allowing that Buddha nature to express itself. So beginning now, perhaps you could look for Buddha nature in yourself and in others. And when you do, you'll be cultivating a friendly mind. Thank you, dear friends.
Thank you, Bobby, for that talk. And in a moment, we'll close the YouTube video. But before then, we'll just say a few announcements before we close this part. I did put the links up in the window for the mindfulness, the meditation retreat online that is this weekend. So that's in there. Links to donation. We are supported by the community, and that's me and you. And so that's there as well. And also the Zoom link where we will be going, that is also there as well. So let's listen to 2 bells, and then Anne will lead us in the 4 vows of awakening beings.
Countless beings we vow to free, ceaseless afflictions we vow to end, limitless truth doors we vow to open, the deepest paths of awakening we vow to realize.
So we'll say goodbye to those of you on YouTube now, and please do join us over on Zoom here in a moment or two. All right.